So I roll up to this house or whatever. I'm gonna spray for the weeds, and I roll up to it, and there's like scaffolding all over the house, and there's like a guy there, and I'm like, oh, they're doing the roof, and I'm like, but it doesn't look like we're gonna be in each other's way, so like whatever. So I get out of the truck, and I'm gonna put the signs in the lawn. Now this guy, he had an accent. I'm an idiot. I don't know what accents are what. Maybe he was Swedish. I don't know.
Okay, so Swedish man.
Yeah. And he looked like he would play... He looked like he would play a cult leader in a biopic in the 1970s.
Oh, fuck.
So he like had like this like bobbing hair or whatever.
Right.
Really tiny face. And his name was most likely Eric, but it was spelled CK with a CK.
Oh, that's crazy person shit.
Yeah. So I get out, and he like motions to his eyes. I have like my earbuds in or whatever. Excuse me. So I take my like earbuds out. I'm like, oh, what's that? Jesus, I'm burping. I'm so sorry. And he's like, why are you wearing? I'm not even gonna try to do an accent. He's like, why are you wearing glasses? And I'm assuming it's like, he's assuming I'm spraying something, and they're like protective.
Oh,
or whatever.
okay. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, these are just sunglasses. And he's like, yeah, why are you wearing sunglasses? And so already I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
weird.
Because it's sunny out? Like, I don't know. And he's like, no. Like, you need sun. We need sun in our eyes. And I'm like, what? And he's like, we need it on our whole body. We need it in our eyes. It's good for your body. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And he's like, so why you wear sunglasses? You need to let the sun in your eyes. And I was like, I get headaches if I don't wear sunglasses. Like, I don't know, it's such a bitch thing to say. But I'm like, I mean, my fucking eyes hurt if I don't wear sunglasses. I don't have to tell you. And he's like, nope. Like, that's because you wear sunglasses. And I'm just like, all right, man.
Sure.
And I fucking turn around, and then I go to the backyard, and he's like, so because now I'm like, this is still a funny. If that's where it ends, I'm like, that's kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
This guy's weird. He might be fucking with me.
Yeah.
But that was weird.
Because that is partially true. I think it's like you can help combat like seasonal depression if you get, is it vitamin D?
Yeah, but
you
don't.
Eyes?
But like also, I'm getting vitamin D.
Yeah, I'm sure you're fine. You know,
I mean, look at the difference between my arm. I'm getting the vitamin D.
You're getting sun.
I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
And so I go to the backyard, and he's like, so are you spraying for something? I'm like, yeah, I'm just spraying for the weeds. And then he goes, what's a weed? And so now my first thought is, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
This guy sucks because I'm just like, so what he's going to do is try to bait me into like, oh, these are weeds, blah, blah. And then he's going to be like, well, why do you have to kill them? Fucking, it's all nature, right? That's why I'm like,
God.
I'm not doing this. I'm not playing this game with this fucking guy.
Right.
So I'm like, what, man? And he's like, what's a weed? What do you consider a weed? And I was like, I don't even know how to answer that. Like, you know what a weed is.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, like, why would you spray for them? Like, could you show me what a weed is? And I was like, yeah, I sure could, but I think you know what a weed is. And he was like, well, why would you spray for them? And I go, hey man, do you live here or do you work here?
Yeah,
and he's like, I work here. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, why don't you ask the guy that you work for, who's paying me to be here, why he would spray for the weeds? And he goes, I don't want to ask him. I want to ask you. You're the one that's educated on it. And I start laughing. I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
First off, like, this is crazy that this debate is going on.
Because now, as soon as I asked him if, just in case he was the homeowner by some chance, I was like, if you're just a guy, I don't need to be polite to you.
Leave. Yeah, I'm just going to keep doing my job.
So as soon as he's like, well, you're educated, I just started laughing. I'm like, oh, I'm not educated. I have no idea what's going on with these. And he was like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I'm just like a student trying to make money or whatever.
I'm just doing my job,
yeah,
dude.
And he was like, oh, yeah. Well, he's like, well, maybe you should learn about it because it could hurt you. And I go, it can't. And then he goes to say something else. And I was like, thanks for the philosophy lesson, man. And I just like walked away from him. And I put my earbuds back in. And then the thing was, too, is like, it was a big property. So I was there for a while. And then this guy just started like, also, I've never roofed. I've never done anything with a roof. But this guy didn't do anything roofing related the whole time I was there. He climbed up to the roof. He climbed back down from the roof. He grabbed some more ladders. The guy had too many ladders. Okay, he had way too many ladders.
Oh, no.
And then at one point he started just like throwing his ladders on the lawn, and I like part of me just wanted to fucking spray over them, but I was like, I'm just not even gonna go over there.
Yeah.
And then And then I packed up, and then I was gonna. This is so childish, but I was gonna drive by and just like flip him off. But I'm such a bitch. As I put it in drive, literally my hand was about to come up, and then he like looked over, and I just put my hand down.
Oh man!
And I was just like, "Fuck that guy." And then I immediately called the office lady, and I was like, "Jenna, you gotta fucking hear this story."
Oh my god, dude.